Hello and welcome to another edition of the Gadget Show. My name is Usman and I'm here as always with our gadget expert, knower of all things to do with gadgets, anything to do with technology, gadgetry, anything which has a microchip, anything which connects to electricity. This is the man, and I'd like to say hello to our gadget expert, Raman.
Hi Usman, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm very good.
Exciting show lined up for us today?
Absolutely, really excited because we've finally got our hands on the three most sought after handsets in the mobile phones this year.
So we won't tell them yet.
Yeah.
We have to keep you in suspense
Yep.
for a little while. As always, you know the format of the show, how we work. Basically, we start off with telling you what's been in the news recently before we move on to our gadget review, which is extra special this week. Like I said, so we start off with what's in the news. So, Raman, what's been in the news this week?
I've picked up two or three interesting, things which have caught our attention. A lot of us now are looking at TVs, and this is something which is an integral part of our, living room. When you look at TVs, we've seen 3D TVs coming in, we've seen wireless coming in as a technology in some of these TV sets. And obviously, what we do get to see is that we don't get the full connectivity around it, which is in terms of having a wireless TV, talking to the Blu-ray player that we have, talking to our Skybox or TiVo or whatever we use. And obviously, all that allows or creates a need for us to plug in extra accessories. So there is finally some good news wherein Intel and LG have created a tie-up wherein they're going to be bringing across YD, which is wireless TVs from beginning of March next year. And what that essentially means for us as consumers is that we'll have the wireless technology built in without having to connect a dongle or connect a wire or Ethernet cable. We will be able to get everything which is wirelessly connected in our homes straight away onto our TV. So if you have something on your phone, you can beam it straight to your TV. If you have something on your Blu-ray player, they can straight away connect to the TV and display content. And any other handheld device like a tablet or a laptop, and all these things will be straight away able to push data to our TV, which is going to be quite massive. And this is going to happen, this already happens to a certain extent already, but this is going to happen in HD ready technology. That means you'll get full HD resolution, clarity that you can ask for, and there will be no jerks or jitters in between, straight away beaming up.
Yep, so we're going to talk more about this topic in a little while. We have a phone call, so we will take the call. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
I want to know about the iPhone 4S.
iPhone 4S, what's your name?
My name's Khan.
And where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Bali.
Okay, anything specific you'd like to know about the phone?
About the camera and how many megapixels.
Megapixels.
More about the iPod Touch 4th Gen, how many megapixels the camera is.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, that's it.
No problem. Thanks a lot, Khan. Thanks for your call. Keep watching. One of the phones we are due to cover in the next section is the iPhone 4S. So we will tell you everything you need to know, including about the megapixels of the camera. So if you just keep watching the show, we'll answer your questions. So thank you very much for calling. Thanks. Bye-bye. So as you can see, we've had to give it away, unfortunately.
Yes.
We've had to give it away. But yes, one of the phones we will be covering in a very short space of time is the iPhone 4S. We have got it in the studio with us, managed to get hold of it. But so Khan, we will answer your question very shortly. But anyway, back to the news.
And the second bit of interesting news that I picked up is, we are hooked to Facebook. I use Facebook, and I guess you use Facebook. Everybody in the office, everybody that I know uses Facebook. And they've been talking about this interesting concept of the timeline. And they've been talking that about for a couple of months now. It was supposed to be released in September, but finally the beta of that has come out. So obviously the timeline will put your your profile to say on the Facebook as a timeline, as a line across when you've uploaded photos, when you came onto Facebook, who got added, as and when, who sent you the invite, and you'll be able to create a beautiful Pictionary in a way of your friends, family, your circle on Facebook in the form of a timeline. And again, I think there are pros and cons to it, but the way I see it is that it is one of the other bit of innovations which Mark Zuckerberg and his team is bringing across to Facebook, which which will simplify it to a certain extent. And I think if they have a functionality like I can go back into a particular time, at a point in time, and then pick out where I was in my relationship or in my association with Facebook.
So it's more of a diary of your life.
Absolutely.
So that's
I think the way they put it across is that this is one of the biggest things coming across on Facebook, and I think it is going to be amazing.
Fantastic. We have another caller, so we're going to take a call. Hello.
हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम सलाम।
जी मैंने आईफोन 4S के बारे में पूछना था।
जी क्या सवाल करना चाहती हैं
आप इधर से आपसे हम बाय कर सकते हैं कि आप मैंने अभी टीवी ऑन किया ना?
नहीं, हम ये फ़ोन बेच नहीं रहे, हम इस फ़ोन के बारे में आपको बता रहे हैं कि इसकी अच्छी क्या फीचर्स हैं और क्यों आपको लेना चाहिए। अगर आपको चाहिए तो हम 3-4 फ़ोन आपको दिखाएंगे, उनमें से सब बताएंगे कि क्या अच्छी चीज़ है इनमें, और फिर खुद ही अगर आपको पसंद आए तो फिर आप जाके कहीं आपकी नज़दीकी दुकान जो मोबाइल फ़ोन बेचते हैं वहाँ से आप ले सकते हैं। हम
बाय कर सकते हैं।
But thank you very much for the call. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया कि आपने सवाल किया। We are going to review 3 different phones. We're going to tell you the good and bad points about all of them, and then it's up to you to decide whether which one you like and which one you think is for you, which you can go and purchase from your local mobile phone retailer, not from us.
That's correct.
Yes.
All right, and the final bit of news that I have is obviously we've all used Windows. Some of us have actually moved on and we've used Mac from time to time, or upgraded to Mac because of various reasons. But when you look at Windows, there is one constant thing about Windows, is that it always keeps updating in the background. And that was a bug, I would put it this way, or a bother for us when we looked at Windows Vista. Thankfully it went away with Windows 7, but it still continues to happen. So I think there is a concerted effort now at the team, the product development team, and at Microsoft. What they're trying to do is bring updates of everything which they ship, like the Internet Explorer. You have the Bing, which is their search engine, the MSN, and all the other various associated services. They'll try and bring out some sort of a system update, which is an OS update, which will have updates for all these bits and pieces as well.
Rather than having an update every few weeks
or few days or few hours, have a fixed sort of thing. And obviously people who are quite frustrated with the fact that Windows keeps updating in the background, some of us will have the option to opt out as well. So if I'm happy with my Internet Explorer 8.0 and I don't want to update it further, I can opt out of that program. But all in all, I think they are again a step behind in terms of when you look at market leaders like Apple. If you do an OS update, they bring out an OS update and it's a major upgrade which opens new features and a couple of other things. But they are following the right steps, and I hope this will make life easier for Windows users, which are 91% of it's the install base. So 91% of PCs across the globe, whether it's laptop PCs, all run Windows operating system.
I think with this particular feature of the news is the fact that they are updating Windows Explorer because they want to try and maintain its base, because obviously you've got like Mozilla, a lot of people using Firefox, Opera, which is very popular now. So it's kind of trying to keep people on Internet Explorer.
That's correct, yes. And I think the other thing which has happened in the last couple of months and years in the browser war is, when you look at the Google Chrome, you look at Firefox, and you look at Internet Explorer, the 3 which have the largest chunk of browsing data, they have introduced things like the rendering engine. So if you're opening a video, there's a plugin for that. You open something which is JavaScript, there's a plugin for that. You open Flash, there's a plugin for that. And what they're now trying to do is make this a wholesome offering, wherein it's a combination of plugins, players, and rendering engine, so you get a fuller experience in Windows in that particular browser. So whether it's Firefox, whether it's Internet Explorer, or Chrome for that sake. And the whole idea is because you're running an internet usage is one of the main functions on your PC. So you're browsing, you're emailing, and you're using the Explorer. And 78% of the usage on your PC is on the browser. So when you look at that usage, this is one piece of software that needs to run well, needs to run without any errors, or without the things of shutting down abruptly, because it does away with the whole experience of the whole system that you're using. And I guess Internet Explorer has a largest market share. They have the largest market share, but the market share has been dwindling, and they were at one point in time 78%. Today the estimates are they are at about 50-51%. So Chrome has eaten into that market share, Firefox has eaten into that market share, which is Mozilla, and then you have Opera. And these are different browsers which work on different devices, notebooks, laptops, mobile phones, and the wholesome experience that they give Internet Explorer had a lead at that point in time, but they've lost that over the years. They're trying to regain that back by bringing some of these things at par with what others offer.
Right, so moving on to the next bit of news. Is there anything else that we've left to cover? Or is it time for the main event?
I think that's the time for the main event.
It's time for the main event, I think it is. So, we have in the studio with us, we have the iPhone 4S, which is the latest offering from Apple.
Yep.
We have the 2011 Phone of the Year, which is the Samsung Galaxy S2.
S2.
And we have the brand new onto the market, the Nokia Lumia series, which is not very recent. It's only been out a couple of weeks, maybe a month, maybe.
Couple of weeks, yes.
Yep. So we have two obviously of the big name phones and one of the latest phones which is out at the moment, and we are going to try and dissect them bit by bit to tell you which. Are we going to get a definite answer on what you think is the one,
I think,
or are we just going to leave it up in the air?
No, you will get a definite answer. And you know, I've been looking at these phones for a good number of days, and the whole idea is you have to have, when I'm doing a review, when I'm doing a comparison, you have to have a winner. And the way I see it is we're going to compare it simply on 4 or 5 things.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into the technical specs that this is a dual core, this is this and this is that. We're going to compare 5 main things which me or consumers look at. So you look at the megapixel camera.
Okay.
You look at obviously the speed of the phone. You look at what utilities and softwares it comes installed, or what is the operating system, the base of the operating system. We're going to look at the screen, and obviously we're going to look at the build.
Okay.
So how attractive is the phone? How good looking is the phone? How fast is it? What megapixel the camera is? What experience it provides in terms of having connectivity with different things, like the Apple iPhone has the App Store connectivity, the Samsung will have an Android market connectivity, and the Windows phone Nokia Lumia will have Windows market connectivity. And what are the apps in them? And obviously, what is the user experience that we get out of them? So that is what we're going to look at. So let's crack on with it.
Crack on with it, yes, definitely.
Good stuff. The first up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the Samsung Galaxy X2. This is the phone of the year. Obviously, I think it's been awarded the Gadget Phone of the Year award by T3.
Yeah.
When you look at this phone, this particular phone has a 4.3-inch AMOLED screen, which is the resolution on this screen is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It can show you 16 million colors in terms of screen, colors on the screen. So the screen on one of these phones, as you can see a picture on the television set, is one of the best as far as the quality of the screen is concerned. Now, if I just ask you to look back on this, obviously most of these phones are touchscreen phones. That is one of the base things that I want to share with our users, that these are touchscreen phones. And as you can see, all of them we'll be reviewing them using our fingers, so finger touch. Now, this is the Samsung. It's available in 16 gig versions and the 32 gig version. It has got an 8 megapixel camera. It has got 2 cameras. So there's a front facing camera and there's a back camera. The front facing is a 1.3 megapixel and the back camera is 8 megapixel with flash, built-in flash. Now, when I look at the overall quality of this phone, it is quite sleek, as you can see on the screen. It's quite sleek phone. It's quite lightweight as well. The thing that I like about this phone is the screen size. When you look at different phone in the market, this is a 4.3-inch screen phone, and the bigger screen that you have, the better it is when you're browsing. And let me try and see if I can pull out a browser. So if you look at the internet here, and just quickly typing one of the websites that we can open up, which is going to be consistent across all the phones that we look at for the sake of comparisons. So if you look at, I'll get that on in a second with the Wi-Fi. Obviously, we're not using 3G network. As you can see, you get a fuller picture on the browser. And because the screen size is 4.3 inch, the more space you have, the more viewing space you have as far as applications are concerned. In terms of the build quality of the phone, I think I was a bit disappointed when I look at the back side of the phone. It's got a very, very light plastic cover, which obviously I was a bit afraid when I opened it up to put a SIM card in that it would typically break. But in terms of quality of the phone, you don't feel like you're holding a very pricey smartphone which is available from Samsung in the market. But It runs on the Android operating system. It's got 16 gig of memory in it. It's got an 8 megapixel camera. And the best thing about the phone is it's got a 4.3 inch screen size. So when you look at all those features, this phone was considered to be one of the best competitors with the Apple iPhone when you look at that in the market. The next phone that I'm going to pick up is the Nokia Lumia. And this is something which is the new kid on the block, let me put it this way, but keeping in mind simple, obvious reasons that Nokia is tied up with Microsoft, and they brought out the first Windows-based phone. The phone, when you look at, it's quite impressive in terms of its design. The build is quite sturdy. It looks quite good. It feels quite good when you hold it in your hand. It is as light as the Samsung Galaxy. I don't know the exact weight, but we'll bring that out for comparison purposes. But all in all, a very good build. They've brought in one or two innovations. For example, if you lift the lid, you can connect through a mini USB port, and they've not gone in for any other connector. Mini USB straight away connects into the USB, and that way you can use this phone for storing data as well. It's got an 8 megapixel camera. The thing about Nokia phones is that they bring across the Carl Zeiss lens, so the quality of the camera is extremely good. In terms of the screen size, it is slightly bigger than the iPhone 4S, and this is 3.6 or 3.7 inch centimeter in terms of the screen, if I can recall it correctly. But the screen size is good enough for you to look at good browsing capability. And if I bring out the Internet Explorer on this, the touch on this is quite good. If you look at the phone, the touch on this is quite good. And it is really one of the phones wherein the screen is very nice to touch when you look at starting to type a text message or things like that. The third phone that I'm going to pick up is the iPhone 4S. Obviously, this is the phone which is selling quite fast as of now in the market, keeping in mind it's the successor to the iPhone 4. They've upgraded the processor on this to dual core. The camera is 8 megapixel. They've introduced something called the Siri, which is a voice assistant. And obviously, they've built onto the, they're building onto the foundation of the iOS operating system, which allows it to bring in a lot of applications. And I think there are about 500,000 applications available for you to use on the iPhone. All in all, the build quality of this phone when they brought out is quite sturdy. The front and the back is glass. Again, it has dual cameras. The front the back is an 8 megapixel camera with a flash, and the front is a CMOS-based camera, I think, which is 1.3 megapixel. It's got only one button on the phone. Screen size wise, I think if I look at all the three phones that we have, and if you pick them up, I think this is the smallest screen size. So if you look at the Nokia Lumia, it's just about slightly bigger than obviously the iPhone 4S. I'm just trying to compare the screen sizes rather than the phone structure. So if you look at the screen size here, I think there's a difference of about 1 centimeter or so. So the bigger real estate as far as the screen size is concerned on the Nokia Lumia. And obviously, when I compare that with the Samsung, as you can see, it just straight away scores because of the screen size. So you've got a little bit bigger real estate as far as browsing the screen is concerned. If you can align them right, yeah, there you go. So the bigger screen, absolutely good if you are internet savvy. You use a lot of applications on the go, and obviously, the other thing that we looked at is all of them. So if I have to summarize, I think on the first comparison that we did, when we look at cameras, all the three phones have an 8 megapixel camera. Both of them have a front and a back facing camera. And in terms of the builds of the phone, the second feature that we compared, I think we would give Nokia Lumia and the Apple iPhone 4S pretty much the similar marks in terms of the build quality, the styling, and obviously the way it looks quite attractive. I think the Samsung is quite good as well. The only thing I think they lack on is obviously the build quality as far as the back side of the phone is concerned. The second thing that we're going to review obviously on the phone is because all of these are touchscreen phones, I'm going to try and do text messaging on this, because all of them have done a different implementation of the on-screen keyboard. And when you look at that, one of the things that I realize when you look at typing a text message is that the keyboard, how nice it feels, how quickly it types, and how does it have features like autocorrection and things like that. And if I type something here,
you're going to keep a standard sort of
a text. Yeah,
it's going to do a standard message, which you're going to try and type on all of them. We're going to do this comparison after a short commercial break, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be back reviewing 3 fantastic phones.
तजर्बे और महारत के 13 साल यूके और यूरोप के सबसे बड़े ऑनियन सप्लायर क्वालिटी फूड एंड वेज रियल फ्रेश रियल वैल्यू।
क्या आप पिछले 3 साल के दौरान किसी रोड एक्सीडेंट का शिकार हुए हैं, स्लिप ट्रिप या काम के दौरान हादसा, और अभी तक आपको कंपनसेशन नहीं मिली? तो परेशान मत हों, हम आपको अच्छी कंपनसेशन दिलवा सकते हैं। बस आपको फौरी तौर पर क्लेम्स फास्ट से राब्ता करना होगा। क्लेम्स फास्ट एक ऐसा इदारा जो कम वक्त में ज्यादा मुआवजा दिलवाए। तो भाई देर किस बात की, फोन उठाएं, नंबर मिलाएं।
800-077-8330।
हमारी पहचान, हमारे रस्मो रिवाज। अब लीजिए ताज़ा, लजीज और मजेदार रिवायती खानों का मुकम्मल मजा सिर्फ रसम रेस्टोरेंट एंड बैंक्वेट हॉल में। अब स्पेशल बफेट बच्चों के लिए बिल्कुल फ्री और बड़ों के लिए फ्री ड्रिंक्स के साथ। शादी ब्याह, सालगिरह और दीगर तकरीबात के लिए बड़े और कुशादा हॉल्स के अलावा फ्री कार पार्किंग की सहूलत भी। आज ही तशरीफ लाइए। तकरीबात की बुकिंग के लिए कॉल कीजिए 01612643 433 चीटम हिल रोड, मैनचेस्टर।
Welcome back to the Gadget Show, where we are reviewing 3 of the most popular phones out at the moment. We have the iPhone 4S, we have the Galaxy S2, Samsung Galaxy S2, and also the Nokia Lumia 800. We were in between telling you, the 5 basic features which we will be comparing between the phones. Build quality we've already talked about.
Yep.
Raman said he preferred the iPhone 4S and the Nokia as compared to the Samsung build quality, where it felt a little bit flimsy, when he was trying to remove the back cover, trying to put the SIM card in, etc. He felt as though it probably would break. Whereas the other ones are much more sturdier in design. We're going to move on to the next feature, which you said you would compare. You've compared screens already, and you've already talked about cameras as well.
That's correct. The thing about the 3 phones, when you look at obviously having the phones in your hand, and when you look at the weight of the phone, I think one of the reasons why the Samsung phone won the award was that it is 116 grams in weight, if I've got that right. It is the lightest of the 3 smartphones. The iPhone is about 140 grams, and the Nokia Lumia is 142. So there's a very slight difference between the 2 phones, but Samsung on that parameter actually leaves everyone behind, and it is the slimmest and the lightest smartphone as far as the smartphones are concerned, the ones that we are looking at, touch-based ones in the market. One of the other features that we're going to review obviously and talk about in a bit more detail is the fact that because all of these are touchscreen phones, how good is the implementation of the touch keyboard on the phone. What I'm going to do is basically try and type quickly a standard text, which is this is a sample text message. So, and if I time that right, one of the other things which I liked about the Nokia Lumia was that it has auto text correct on the phone, and that way basically when you're typing quickly, it predicts the type of things that you're writing, and then you can straight away select if you're misspelled, like for example I've misspelled all, AKL, and it gives you all the options of all, allow, allows, solution, wherever it picks up these words. And that was a very good feature that I liked on the Nokia Lumia. Going to the iPhone 4S, and if I pick that up and for example do a quick text, and okay, this is a sample text message. Now on the iPhone, if I look at it, I've typed this out, and if you look at this, it is absolutely got it right. And when you look at, obviously I think it's too small, but when you look at the text message here, if you zoom in slightly here, and as you can see I've written this is a sample text message, and when you see that, it is without any particular mistake as far as I'm typing the text, and it is pretty easy. The implementation of the keyboard is quite good, and obviously when you turn it landscape, it turns the other way around. It so does on the other phones. Let's try this Samsung Galaxy on this. And if I see on the keyboard, the implementation of the keyboard actually looks slightly bigger because of the bigger screen size. And if I turn this around, it turns to landscape, which gives me a bigger keyboard because of the bigger screen size. So I do feel that, obviously it scores out a bit here. So, and it also has the same feature when you type, it starts predicting the word that you're writing. And as you can see, I was typing, this is a sample text, and it starts predicting the words that you're writing. So let me start again and see this. Now, I've randomly typed at the same speed as what I'm writing on the other phones, and as you can see, there is a slight bit of mistake, but the keyboard implementation I do feel is the best on the iPhone because of a simple reason that it has got predictive text in it, but I just feel that it writes much better. And followed by, I would say, the Nokia, and I would say then the Samsung.
Do you think it's because of the sensitivity of the screen more than the actual,
I think
the way it's laid out on the screen?
I don't think that's the reason, because all these screens have a resolution of 800 by 480, and when you look at the screen resolutions and the implementation of the keyboard, Samsung and the Nokia have a haptic technology which gives you feedback, implemented on these phones, so you actually can feel what you're typing, and it gives you that feedback on the phone. I don't think that is there on the iPhone, but in general, it could be my fingers, it could be, obviously in our review, what I do find is that the implementation of the keyboard is much better on the Samsung Galaxy than the two other phones because of the screen size, but it's somehow much nicer and quicker to type on the Lumia and the iPhone 4S than the Samsung 4S, the Galaxy 2 S2.
So yeah, that's rather surprising, thinking bigger screen, easier, bigger buttons, you'd be able to do it, but no. Like I said, so in that particular category, you've found out that the iPhone 4S and the Nokia
Lumia,
once again, score better than the phone of the year.
I agree. The next feature that we're going to look at is, obviously this is something that we've tested, and it is a bit subjective when you look at battery backup. I'm carrying an expensive phone in my pocket, and when I look at this kind of a phone, I'm doing a lot of activities, whether it's email, texting, voice, obviously. What I want to be very sure about is how long will the battery last. Now, obviously because of the bigger size of the phone, Samsung has got I think a slightly bigger battery, but when I've used these phones over the last couple of days and I've looked at the battery usage, I do feel in general all the three phones come across more or less the same as far as the usage is concerned. But you need to bear in mind that you're having your Wi-Fi always on. Some of these phones support location-based services, which is always on, and there are other features like Facebook, which is active, Twitter, which is active, and because of these things the battery life does go down. But I do think that all the three phones score equally well as far as the battery life is concerned. They're quite good. And if I have to put some sort of a take on this, on my personal take on this, I would say that obviously I do think the Samsung battery lasts a bit longer. And some of these phones have implemented something called the power save feature. So after a certain percentage, when the battery goes down, say below 50%, 10%, and you can fix that. Once you do that, the phone actually starts cutting out on some services and or disables certain services immediately. That means it tries and prolongs the battery life as far as the usage of the phone is concerned. And this typically would bring us to one of the last features when we look at, obviously, all these phones are quite expensive phones, and when you look at these phones, you're looking at somewhere in the region of, if you have to buy the iPhone 4S separately, you're looking at all are more or less are in the region of between 380 to 400 or 500 pounds. And all of these are available from different operators. So if I have a contract with Vodafone or O2 or T-Mobile or Orange, I will get these phones free to a certain extent on a particular type of contract.
On your tariff,
yeah. So if I look at the Lumia, I think this is available. I've not researched this very well, and obviously I'm not bringing it out in any particular order. But when I look at obviously Vodafone, this is available at about £36 on a 2-year contract, free.
For free.
And when you look at the Samsung Galaxy, I think most networks are offering it from as low as about, I would say, £27 for an 18 months or a 24 months contract free. The iPhone 4S if I look at this phone in particular, I think some of the networks do charge you if you buy the 32 gig version or the 64 gig version, but the 16 gig version is now beginning to be made available free if you're an upgrading customer, but I think the contracts are kind of on a £35 contract for about 2 years.
plus, yeah.
Plus on 2 years. And I think when I look at obviously the screens of all the three phones, which is one of the main thing apart from the screen size, and when you look at the same, when you go onto the home screen, for example, when I pick up these two phones, when you go onto the home screen, the colors, when you look at just the colors of this home screen, you know, and the widgets, or in this case the tiles, when you look at that, I do generally feel that the iPhone scores on that. You know, when you look at the screen display. I
agree with you on that one, yeah.
The display, I don't know what they've done, what technology they've used. I don't think they've introduced it's called the Retina display.
Yeah.
And because of the Retina display, I think the resolution somehow, and whatever you see on the iPhone, looks much sharper and much brighter. But I do need to admit that when I use the Samsung Galaxy S2, this phone is really amazed me because of the fact that because of the bigger screen size and the kind of things that it can give you access to, the screen resolution on this is quite good as well. Very good, I would say. So if I have to rank these phones, if I have to rank them according to the screen size, the battery backup, the camera, you know, the text, you know, the adaptability, the user experience that you get, and all of these are on different platforms. So when you look at these phones, and if I just, you know, obviously put them here besides the box, and while you look at these phones, one of the key things that obviously I need to mention when you start looking at these phones is that all of these are on different operating systems. So if you look at the Nokia, it is a Windows phone. And obviously there is a difference in terms of platform and the features and usability it gives. I've not been able to see how do you do multitasking. Like on the iPhone, you can run an application, you double tap, you straight away can run another application, which I don't see as of now on the Lumia. On the Galaxy S2, because of the Android operating system, it's got a lot of free apps. I think the Android market now has close to 400,000 apps. And when you look at that, a lot of free apps. If you're a gamer, if you love downloading apps, trying them out, there is an option that, you know, obviously on the Android market, more free apps are available. And when you look at the iOS, it's got a fuller ecosystem. It's one of the phones which has kind of sent the benchmarks in the market, and a lot of other companies like Samsung, LG, HTC, Nokia are trying to play catch up and trying to, you know, obviously come up to what you know, in a benchmark, industry benchmark, which Apple has established. And when you look at that, all in all, when you look at the offerings, I think Nokia has done a very good job by bringing out something which it has something at hand to actually challenge the iPhone. Samsung has been at it for a good number of months and years, and I guess they've been bringing out a lot of phones. But the Galaxy S2 is one phone which seriously challenges the Apple iPhone dominance. And if you look at a phone which gives you everything in terms of obviously the features, the capability, and obviously they brought things planned, I do think the package offering of the Apple kind of scores over the other two. But all in all, I've loved the Nokia Lumia phone when I've tried it out, because I think it is one phone which is brought out in the market which is absolute joy to work with when you look at the Windows operating system. And I think apart from the hardware, the Windows phone in particular, the software has made that difference. And as far as the market is concerned, I think they have about 50,000 apps so far, so they've got a catch-up game to play. But when you look at obviously the build quality of the phones, I did find the Apple iPhone and the Lumia to be together. But when you look at the screen size, the battery backup, I do feel the Samsung Galaxy S2 scores. It's difficult to come down to a verdict.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. You've given us everything good and happy and this, that and the other, but I have to press you on one phone. But I'll give you a few moments to think about that, because I'm going to take a quick call. Hello?
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you, brother?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very, very good, thank you. Just want to congratulate you actually, because it's such an amazing program. I just love it.
Thank you very much.
Just want to submit one thing. It's just a request actually. If you just please use language Urdu and Punjabi as well, it will be very convenient.
No problem at all. That's fine. Anyone would like to, if they want to ask a question, feel free to ask it in any language, etc. But yes, I do take on board what you're saying. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's not a matter of question, Yusuf. You see, it's just a matter of understanding, because the thing that you're explaining is very important to understand. Because what you do basically, although you answer question in Urdu or in Punjabi, and you're quite fluent and very good in that, so when you will explain things in Punjabi and Urdu, will be more easy and will be more helpful in order to engage the audience, because we need to know all these things.
Definitely, no, I definitely agree with what you're saying there.
It's easily available on the shops and everywhere, or even on internet. But you guys are working so hard in such a great manner and way. You just request that if you kindly please consider it doing in some time in Urdu, Punjabi and stuff like that.
No problem at all.
We'll be very kind of, because my dad is saying that. So
no, I completely agree with you. No, thank you very much for your feedback on the show. Very glad that you like the show, and obviously in future shows we will implement your
My dad
feedback.
asked me last time as well, and I kept ringing, but nobody answered. It was very hard to get through. And now my dad called me. I was in the other room having fun with my wife, but he told me, look, you have to ring them and tell them and explain to them that please just try to explain something.
We will
Punjabi.
Definitely.
Will be very kind of you, sir.
No, thank you very much.
I really wish you
taking
good
time
luck,
to
and
call.
hi to Raman Saab as well.
Hello, thank you very much.
Raman Saab, you are a legend, sir.
Thank you very much.
Very professional, very expert, and very professional. We love you. Just please keep doing a good job, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your call. Thank you.
Speak to you soon then. Bye.
Thank you. No, very good point that was made. And obviously, like I said, in future shows, we will try and implement, what you've told us and work on that one and speak in Urdu and Punjabi. But we always do tell people, if there's anything you want specific, you'd like to ask, if there's anything that you want us to cover in any particular language, you can give us a call. We are fluent in Urdu, Punjabi, and obviously we're speaking to you in English. अगर आप सवाल करना चाहते हैं, ज़रूर कर सकते हैं. The number is on your screen, Urdu, Punjabi, English, no problem at all. But like I said, we will, in future shows, as we develop the program, as we develop the format, we will be bringing you more of this information in a language that you can understand. We're going to go straight to another call. Hello. Hello.
How are you, young men?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, as I said, each one of the programs of DM has got its own style. But when it comes to knowledge about electronic things, I think your program is jewel in the crown.
I think that's all down to Mr. Raman over here.
Mr. Raman is doing wonderful work. I hope you also explain about the laptops and those things as well. You see?
We will be moving on to that in future shows.
This, what you call it, Nokia mobiles and others. Because I think they should be sponsored by the electronic companies, This program should be sponsored. Hello?
Yes, no, I'm listening, because everything you're saying is correct. I can't fault you in anything that you're saying.
They know they're getting publicity, and they should be sponsored.
That's something for them to consider. We're obviously here just to bring information to you, our viewers. We're trying to bring all the information about technology.
Can I ask another thing?
Of course.
Well, I heard this rumor in New Year, this new iPhone is coming with a solar plate. Is that true or false?
Mr. Raman, have you heard of this rumor of a new iPhone with a solar panel, I think?
Well,
you wouldn't be needing battery.
I think with Apple as a company, we can only tell you something on the show, which is something that we clearly know that is coming. But there are so many rumors around, Apple in specific, that they are bringing out an iPad 3, an iPhone 5, and I think there is a definite yes to the rumor that there is a new phone coming out maybe in March, April, May, June next year. But obviously, for the accuracy of the show, we have to quote the company's website or the company sources, and we don't have any information on that. But
anyway, Raman, thanks for taking the call. Yeah,
you're welcome.
No problem at all.
And thank the producer as well who directed the call to you. Yeah?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Although a solar panel, in fact, would probably not work, especially in Manchester, would have no use at all. We'd be all walking around with zero battery. However, if it was rain powered, my phone would be always topped up. But anyway, we have to move quickly on. We have not much time, but we have a fantastic product that we need to review. It's called the ZOM, which is the world's first wireless mobile leash. What does that mean? It means that basically once it is paired to your phone via Bluetooth, If you walk away from your phone by accident, like we all have done, you don't know where your phone is, if you walk out of range of your phone, it will begin to light up, it will begin to vibrate, and then eventually it will lead to a audible alarm.
That's correct.
Fair enough. You might think, okay, that's all right, but what else does it do? The other thing that this phone does, it is a wireless speaker phone as well, which is fantastic. So it's a wireless leash. You move out of range of your phone, it's going to give you, you know, an audible alarm. If you cannot get to your phone but need to answer it, you can answer it from the device itself. One push and you can talk. It's got a microphone built in there and it's got a speaker built in there. Okay, that's two things. Could it possibly have any more?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
It does. As you've rightly said, it's a mobile leash. So one of the other things it does is it allows you to make emergency calls. And obviously, if I have this, what they've done is they've made this device in the form of just bigger than a £2 coin. And as you can see, it's quite sleek. It's got a speaker at the back, and obviously it's got a Z, as it is called ZOM. So there's a blinking Z in the alphabet in the center. They've given a keychain along with it. You can plug it onto the keychain. One of the other features that you mentioned, which is the device it can do, is it acts as a device which allows you to make emergency phone calls. That means if you're in a situation wherein you want an alarm to go off, and if you hold this down, if I got that correct, for about 6 seconds, it starts giving you an alarm. And that would mean, as you can see, if you're in a situation of distress or you need help, obviously it acts as a device wherein it alarms or creates an alarm. And obviously the last feature of this device that obviously we looked at was, and we tried that out, it allows you to dial an emergency number, which is 112, or whatever number is actually stored on your device. So if you keep it pressed for about 9 seconds, it automatically starts dialing that particular number, and it can either dial that number, and then if you've got a pre-recorded message stored, then obviously it allows you to send that message across in the case of distress. And I would say, if one situation which I can think of is when, for example, elderly people, or when kids, for example, get stuck, or the elderly, you have a situation wherein you're having a medical situation and you can't literally speak. All you do is keep it pressed for about 9 seconds, and it dials out an emergency number and then delivers a pre-recorded message.
Which is fantastic.
Which is fantastic. It's got a good battery life. I've tried that out as a device. We've reviewed this in our studios. So it's USB powered, and it can be, obviously it's got a rechargeable battery. You can basically plug this in. It comes with a cable and charge it through mini USB, and gives you about a 4 to 5 hour usage as far as the speakerphone is concerned.
Oh, wow.
But I used it like a speakerphone. So if I'm in a meeting, all I do is press it once, take the call, press it once again, and it sends it to the voicemail. And it is very nice as far as when you're driving or when you're in a car, and it allows you to straight away take a call with the hands-free. So a multiple device does multiple things, a single device doing multiple things, and obviously the shape and the form in which has been brought out is something quite different. I've not seen that in the market, and I think this particular product is priced at about £70 in the market, and is available in various colors. And there's a screenshot that we have.
A quick screenshot. It's available in black, pink, and white, I think,
or purple, or something,
something like that. We've got a screenshot of it. I don't know if we've got time to show it, in fact. But that is the ZOM, which is the mobile leash. 4 things that it does. Once you move out of range, it gives you an alarm to tell you, you've left your phone behind. You can use it as a speakerphone. So if your phone's across the room, but you still want to take the call, one button, you can hear everything speak, as if it was your phone right next to you. It's a personal alarm, and also it will dial an emergency number. So that is the ZOM. You can
as of
check
now,
out, yeah.
last thing, as of now, I think it works with the Apple devices. They're bringing out a product which is compatible with Android and also other phones. So this is paired with your phone through a Bluetooth. So obviously it works as a Bluetooth device.
Right, that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid, this week. We have another fantastic show lined up for you next week with more amazing products. If there's any questions that you'd like to ask, you can get a hold of us via our website, www.dmdigitaltv.co.uk.
Yep, and obviously next episode we are going to try and do the gadget recap of the year, best gadgets which have been brought out in the year 2011, and we're going to try and recap some of those gadgets which have made news.
Yes, that's a show definitely not to miss next week, same time, obviously on DM. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll be back next week. Take care. Bye-bye.